Finding a bicycle saddle that works for you can be extremely difficult. There's loads of brands and loads of models. So we asked professional bike fitter James Thomas to rank them from worst to best.
The Specialized Power comes in 3 width iterations, all of which seem to be way too wide. One of the biggest problems with this saddle is seemingly the flare angle, the way in which the saddle's width comes out against the rider. One of the problems with this is that it results in excessive interaction with the thighs of the rider, typically resulting in a promotion of a gravitation to the nose. Problem is, it's a noseless saddle, so it's not going to offer you a great deal of support if you're interacting with it like that. This one is 168mm, thanks to the sit bone measuring idiotic saddle fitting system that Specialized has come accustomed to. It's a bit like a ping pong paddle, and frankly, no one will ever sit on it properly. It's also worth noting that this saddle comes equipped on Specialized bikes as an OE saddle. But curiously, the smaller the bike, the wider the saddle. Nice one, Specialized. Maybe someone could tell me in the comments what the thought process is behind that. Okay, so we don't really see these very often anymore. This is a Fizik Arione. The only thought process seemingly that went into this was bellissimo. What a lot of people don't know is that this was designed by Gilberto Simoni on a serviette. That was the only thought process that went into it. One of the benefits of this saddle is it does allow you to sit here, and here with a reasonable degree of comfort. The problem with it is it usually makes you sit off here as a means of trying to get comfortable, because as human beings, we weren't intended to sit on our genitals on hard pieces of foam. So although this can be quite comfortable for some riders with a poor bike position, frankly, it tends to promote asymmetry. So it's quite low on my list. Pro Stealth. Following on from my rant about excessive width, this one seems to have problems with both the wings of it, but also the nose. Although it's a short fit saddle, again, it results in typically a gravitation to the nose and an over interaction with the nose of the saddle, which in turn causes general saddle problems. Worth noting that I'm a big advocate of Pro Saddles, just not this model. Is this even a saddle? The ISM, I mean, this actually shouldn't really be down at the bottom of the list. I guess one of the things I want to get across with regards to this saddle is that it is a triathlon specific saddle. The whole concept of these saddles is that they are designed to load a different aspect of the pelvis, namely the ischial pubic rami. It's to allow a more anterior pelvic tilt and is widely associated with triathlon positions. However, if you have one of these fitted to your road bike, it's probably one of the very few saddle designs that can be fitted to a road bike where the saddle height is excessive and for you to not experience genital problems. If you're having to resort to this type of saddle on a road bicycle, like a conventional road bicycle, your position's probably not right. Bonus time, the Essax Shark biomechanical saddle. To be honest with you, this is like a bonus thing because we don't really sell these saddles, although somebody has actually left here and wanted to buy one. This is actually a very useful proprioceptive aid that we use in bike fitting. It's got a fin on the back of it, which is designed to sit in between one's buttocks. One of the problems commonly we find in bike fitting is riders sit off to one side, they list to one side as a result of excessive saddle height or insufficient arch support or the feet being too close together or whatever it might be. And as a result, they sort of get stuck in a rut. So quite often we need to help them re-establish where the middle of the saddle is. And that's what this kind of little fin is designed. I mean, before this saddle existed, I used to kind of duct tape a magic marker to the middle of a saddle in order to help a rider get more central. But as little as 15-20 minutes on this saddle can help riders sit a little bit more centrally. Only to be administered by a bike fitter. Please don't go out and buy these and start using them at home. The Beaky McBeak face. I went through a period of fitting a lot of these, and I went through a period of riding one of these, and the long and short of it was that I just couldn't get over the way that it looked. And I know that shouldn't be a thing, but I mean, look at it. This is an SMP Dynamic. SMP is widely regarded for this funny old shape in their saddles. The benefits of the system are that it can typically result in a decent pelvic interaction. It has very, very long rails, so it allows a reasonable amount of rail adjustment. The problem though with it is that I almost, because the problem with it is that the seating portion of the saddle is very, very far back. So although you've got a lot of rail adjustment, you ain't going to be using it because you're going to have to run the saddle as far forward as possible anyway. That was generally my finding with using this saddle. So as a result, it kind of sits middle of the way. It's not a bad saddle, at least give it a go, but generally speaking, I found I had to run it very, very far forward, which had a number of limitations. So next we have two saddles from the Pro family. So the first one, this used to be my absolute favorite. This is a Pro Griffon. It's pretty much a rip-off of the Specialized Toupee of old. Comes in 3 different widths, although the 130mm is very, very difficult to come by. Has a reasonable pressure relief channel and has a nice flat surface. It's flat in both the width and across the length of it. And frankly, that's about it. It comes in carbon rail and a steel rail guys. The Turnix is a much more contoured saddle, in both planes. What I find with these is that if you have an individual that typically suffers with sit bone pressure, because of the less flat nature of these, it can be a little bit more suitable. So give those a go. This one's for the ladies. Ergon SR, again, orthopedic foam, but one of the benefits we find with this is it's got a nice flat rear section, big pressure relief channel on the front, and again, just generally a pretty decent shape. And just generally a pretty decent shape. We tend to get the best results, however, with the narrowest version of this. Something worth noting is we fit many of these to men's bikes and we fit many of the men's saddles to women's bikes. There isn't really such thing as a women's saddle. Although women are obviously different, both of us need pressure relief channels.
Selle Italia!
The SLR Boost S3. Although the S3 is denotes the width of the thing, so there are 2 different widths. There's the S3, which is the 130mm width, and the L3, which is 145. These come in a number of iterations. They come with the chromoly rail, which is what this one is, which is all right, but pretty badly made, if I'm honest with you, and they have a nasty tendency of creaking. The best one that's worth noting is the endurance model, which has a little bit of extra padding to it, comes with a titanium rail, and seemingly doesn't creak as much. There's also a carbon version and a 3D printed version. The 3D printed version actually is my least favorite. I have 4 or 5 iterations of this saddle across my range of bikes, and this one is by far my favorite. The best thing about the Selle Italia is the width. So over the last few years, no thanks to brands like Specialized who insist on measuring sit bone width, one of the problems that's yielded is that saddles have become too wide, a little bit like the power at the beginning of this video. So what the benefit of the Boost is that because it's so narrow, it typically allows the rider to interact with the rear portion of the saddle much, much better without the wings of the saddle interacting with their thighs. So as a result, it tends to promote a more rearward interaction with the saddle at its widest part without influencing or without impacting the rider's ability to pedal to the top of the struggle. One of the takeaways from this video should be that saddle problems shouldn't be medicated with saddles. 90% of saddle problems come from bad positions because the saddle's too high, the reach is too long, the setback's too great, or the feet are too close together. We've even found that we can reduce pressure going through the saddle by up to 50% just by administering arch support in the shoes. So please don't go away and start trying loads of different saddles. Go to a decent bike fitter and have your position checked. Having said that, this is my best selling saddle by a fair mile. I would say almost 70% of the people that leave here leave with an SLR Boost S3. It's a fantastic saddle, as I say, comes in a number of different flavors and price ranges, and is well worth a go. That is my favorite.
Have you found one saddle to rule them all? If you have, put it in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe to this channel for more.